Good day, fellow Jersey Nerds, and welcome to episode 86 of the Jersey Nerds podcast. I'm your host, Ryan, and today on the Nerdcast, we're going to be looking at the leaked Buffalo Sabres 50th anniversary jersey, as well as the Chicago Blackhawks and their modified Adidas collar for their season, and the new ECHL athletic knit jerseys have started rolling out. So specifically this week, we'll be taking a look at the Brampton Beast and the new red sweater that they recently revealed within the last week or so. Plus, we have the usuals like Fake or Authentic and Throwback Throwdown, and the usuals joining us to dive into all these issues are Sean, Beepo, and Steve joins us this week. Sean, what's going on?
I am currently rocking the 40th anniversary Buffalo jersey with my main man, former played on half the teams in the NHL, third liner Mike Greer on here, known for being, one of the few guys on the U.S. team who isn't in the Hall of Fame for the 2000s I can remember off the top of my head.
Now, Mike Greer, I always think of him as an Edmonton Oiler. Do you consider he had, 4 stints with the Buffalo Sabres? Do you consider him a Buffalo Sabre?
I would definitely consider him a Buffalo Sabre. I'd consider him one of those guys you certainly remember being on. He's one of those random guys you do. But yeah, he did spend the most time in his career between Edmonton and Buffalo. So he played from 96 to 02 on Edmonton, then from 02 to 04 on the Capitals, and then and then halfway through the Capitals, this was a deadline deal in 04. He went to the Sabres the first time, spent 2 seasons there, then went to San Jose for 3, and then back to Buffalo.
I forgot about his time with San Jose. He really went all over.
He did. He never put up more than 44 points. He's a Matt Cullen.
Huge shoulder pads. He had huge shoulder pads.
Yes, and I don't know. I find it weird that I remember the guy.
It's always
funny. He only retired because Buffalo didn't re-sign him.
That's how it ends for a lot of people. They can't find a contract in the NHL.
The team you like playing for the most won't re-sign you. Oh, well, that's it. I'm out.
I'm going to check out at this point. We go from Mike Greer to Beepo. Beepo, what's going on?
Just podcasting and record, Ryan. How about you?
Beautiful, Beepo. This time I caught it. Last week I had you on mute. I was expecting it this time, so I made sure to keep you off mute so that I could hear what the verbal beautician that you are and the joy that you could spread amongst our listeners. Now you have been talking all week about a shelf that you built. Why don't you share that?
Let's see. I took broken hockey sticks that my dad collects. I cut them up, and I made them into a little shoe rack because the one that I had before was plastic, and it was crap, and it started breaking. I bought another one. It didn't work out so well. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to make one, and I did.
Beauty. Love it. Anything made with old hockey sticks is fantastic.
I have a second one in the works as well because this one doesn't fit all of my shoes. It's a little bit bigger than I, wanted, but I kind of overestimated my measurements. Probably not, unless you provide the sticks. I don't think we got enough for that.
What do you have enough for? I'm willing to pay.
I don't know, but honestly, the craftsmanship is mediocre.
Do you have any leftover?
Leftover sticks?
Yeah.
There are leftover sticks, yes.
I have an idea what you could do.
Okay.
You could put a lock on your bathroom, and then the key that you have for that lock, you could put on the end of a hockey stick and start charging your family to use the washroom. And then you just hand them the key on the end of the hockey stick. No? Not for you?
Out of anything you decide to lock, why that?
I don't know.
You could have just said, make a little hockey stick for your car keys, but no, you had to decide to ask me to lock the bathroom on my family.
It seems to be working out well for gas stations, so I thought maybe you could try.
I think that's a little bit different.
Well, I don't see that, but Anyways,
on another note, I am wearing the same jersey as Sean, the Sabres 40th anniversary. Fun fact, just like last week's Carolina Hurricanes Adidas home jersey, Matt Cullen did not wear this.
Thanks for the update, Beepo. That's beautiful.
Beepo's Matt Cullen update of the week.
Also joining us is Steve. What's going on, Steve?
Not much. Just celebrated my birthday last night there.
Well,
Happy birthday, Steve.
Thank you.
Are you feeling the effects, or have you fully recovered?
I've recovered. It was nice. I got a roommate of mine from college who was also in my wedding this past year to come into town. So he stayed the weekend here, and I had way too many people at my house. But, I mean, it was a nice time. And I got to go to essentially a high-tech driving range, so...
Yeah, tell us about this. This was pretty cool, because we were chatting about this before we started recording, but this is pretty cool. Tell us about it.
Full disclosure, we're not sponsored by them, but just as a review for them, it's a company called Topgolf, and if anyone was ever a fan of the Tiger Woods PGA games, they always had that target practice game, where it's just like... You hit something and you got a bunch of points. Well, this is it in real life. Every golf ball they have has a sensor in it, and that sensor connects onto the driving range. So whenever you get it into this netting of a hole, and these are big holes that are in the ground, they end up scoring you points. And it was me and 5 other people there for like 2 hours. We were just driving golf balls, and of course, my little brother, who played golf in high school and still does every Sunday, he's driving them, getting like 20 points a hit, and we're all just sitting here like, you know what, forget you, man.
That seems pretty cool. Like I'd like to try that. It also seems like something that is totally Vegas appropriate, like something that should be in Vegas.
You know what? I was reading up on it. It was actually developed in England, but it does seem like something that Vegas would come up with. But I know this company is they're all over the United States, and this one that opened up, you have to reserve a time. You can't even walk in. It's just so popular now. But I know it was definitely a great time. It's a great atmosphere. So, but. Yeah, if you happen to live in a city or an area where there's Topgolf, I would definitely recommend it.
I want it in Vegas where it's kind of a party atmosphere. So and maybe there's targets out there, and when you hit a target, something ridiculous happens. Or maybe we can get some like when you go to a regular driving range, you're always trying to nail the guy in the cart who's cleaning up all the balls. Maybe they could have like, this is just off the top of my head, clowns running around, and it's like a triple-decker driving range type thing where you can hit these targets and crazy things happen, or they have these clowns running around on the fairway, and you could just knock them out. I mean, they're wearing protective gear, of course. I want to look out. I want to look out for the clowns.
Or have it where, like, you're supposed to hit, like, a target and something happens. Like, do you remember? I don't know, and Beepo, I don't know if you're too young for this, but the local amusement park in Pittsburgh, Kennywood, had this old water hose game where, like, you sprayed something, or, like, you sprayed in a hole and something happened. Or, better yet, like the shooting gallery at Kennywood. You want to talk about, Beepo? The one by the racer?
Is this a different shooting gallery?
No. This was years ago at Keeple. It was like you had like a water hose, but to explain,
the shooting gallery that they have now with the water gun thing.
No. That was over in Kittyland. But going back to the main shooting gallery.
They don't have that one anymore. But never mind.
Go back to the main shooting gallery. For our 2 Canadian friends here, Kennywood has a shooting gallery, but it's like a laser gun.
Wait. Clarify what you said. Did you say shooting gallery or a shitting gallery?
Shooting.
Okay.
It's a shitting gallery, Beepo.
Yeah, you just sit on a toilet and you let it all go. But no, If it had something like where you hit like a target and something were to happen and you have to like
sorry, Steve.
Steve,
I got to get back to this shitting gallery because I just thought of something. Beepo was probably told that was an attraction as he was growing up. Turns out it was just the public bathroom. But sorry, carry on.
No, here's what you got to do. You got to moon like everything, and then you got to kind of like spread, and then you got to aim it at everything.
Oh, come on.
Oh,
now.
this is getting off the rails so much.
Hey, you're the one who said shitting gallery.
Isn't that the best
did not
part?
say that. It only sounded like that.
All right, carry on with your shitting gallery story.
Okay. Anyways, adding on to yours, if they had something where it was like you had to hit a target for something to happen to progress at a certain time frame, I mean, I feel like that'd be difficult, but that would be so fun.
Well, I'll tell you what was fun was this past week. I took my son to a birthday party. It was a drop-off birthday party, so I returned after to see the carnage. And it turned out to be a Nerf birthday party. So these are Nerf guns. I'm sure most people know what Nerf guns are. The darts, you can fire them at people. They now have the Nerf Rival, which are the little sponge balls that hurt a little more, but still quite fun. But yeah, it was a Nerf party, and I could only start thinking about myself in this situation and how this is just a top-notch idea, not just for 7-year-old children, but also for middle-aged drunk men to get involved in. Now, the party that my son was at, everyone brought their own Nerf gun with the darts in it, so it was pretty safe. The facility provided Nerf Rivals, the little balls that you can shoot, but they also rigged up what was, I guess, former paintball guns with their own style Nerf pellets, which were just a bit bigger than a golf ball, but still squishy and spongy. And so I got to fire one, and they just fly right at whoever you're trying to blast out of the water. And this is something that I definitely need to do, of course, after spending some time at the bar, and then just head on over to the Nerf party.
I got a good story for you.
Mm-hmm.
So, my little brother in college, when we were up there, he got an off-brand Nerf gun, and he took essentially the tensioner, which prevented you from like pumping it as much as you possibly could. He took that off, he shortened it, did a bunch of stuff, wrote the words El Nino on it, which is the child, and this thing, you could just pump it so it would shoot so hard it would leave welts. So one day, my one roommate thought it would be funny to put a push pin in the end of one of these Nerf darts.
Oh, no.
No. He didn't shoot anyone. He shot it at a wall, and it stuck in drywall. He pumped it that hard, it just stuck right in there, and we all just kind of sat there in silence for a second, and we were just like, well, we've officially made a weapon.
How do you explain that to someone? Because it's not just as simple as being like, oh yeah, I shot a Nerf ball at the wall, because no one's going to accept that. You then have to go into the whole, yeah, I took the limiter off the pump because...
you just make yourself look worse and worse with every speaking word.
There's no way that is just a simple story and you're moving on from it. That requires the whole explanation.
So yeah, after
and their friends is a story of how Steve tried to circumvent gun control.
No, but if you think about it, do you remember laser tag? How big that was?
I still do that, bro.
Sean's an expert tagger.
Bro, sound effect number 2.
This isn't the laser tag where you have those like $300 vests that all you do is you just shoot like ham and you hit someone. These were like in the late 90s, early 2000s. What these would be is like you had like a belt and just this little center thing. And you had this tiny little gun that looked like it was from the 1950s style.
Oh, my buddy had that.
See,
it never worked.
And the thing is that I remember doing that with my neighbors as a kid, and I just remember it was a bunch of bull crap because the one kid figured out that if you get like a PVC pipe, if you were to tape PVC pipe on the end, you now have yourself a rifle. and he would just hit you from across the woods, and you're just like, I give up.
Beautiful. Well, that is our Nerf and laser and golf talk for the week. It's now time to get into Buffalo Sabres, Chicago Blackhawks, and Brampton Beast. Okay, we're going to talk about the leaked Buffalo Sabres 50th anniversary jersey now. And for
wow, Ryan, what riveting music that was.
Oh, the magic of editing. So the Buffalo Sabres 50th anniversary jersey, it's a white jersey, surprisingly, and they're going to use, I guess we could call it, they're going to call it gold, but we're going to call it Vegas gold because it pretty much is Vegas gold. So it's a white, navy, and Vegas gold jersey. It's got the updated Buffalo Sabres shield logo, circular logo from the 2018 Winter Classic. Of course, it's in navy and Vegas gold. And then we have the 4-stripe system on the arm. Very similar again to that, to the original Sabres socks. Kind of plays off that, plays off the 2018 Winter Classic jersey with a big navy stripe in the middle. So you want to see a picture of this, head on over to jerseynerdspodcast.com right now. It's got the complete show notes for this episode, plus all the images to go along with this. And we saw this via a leak. I think it started on Reddit, but then, of course, it hits aesthetics and really takes off. So this is coming out. Just initial thoughts. We'll get into our negatives and positives coming forward, but just initial thoughts, because when I saw this, I was surprised that it was a white jersey. And really, the first thing that I thought to myself was, I want to see a navy helmet, navy pants, navy gloves go with this jersey. But Sean, we'll start you off with just your initial thoughts before we get to negatives and positives.
Yeah, you nailed it. I wouldn't have thought it was real. I just think that the white alternate outside of the Winter Classic is kind of a dead art. And to see it come back, not only, like, we have seen a few anniversary jerseys come now, and they're kind of a more common thing. You know, Philly, LA, and Anaheim have all done it. But none of them were white. So this
Wasn't
is
the
new.
Philly one white?
That's true.
Not this white.
No, not
this
completely white. Big patch of orange.
No, like, yeah, like it was about as white as the Sabres 18 Winter Classic jersey.
Beepo, what were your initial thoughts here?
Well, it did have that Philly jersey, the predecessor, but it is a little bit surprising that it is a primarily white one. But like Sean said, it is a nice sight to see because we don't see a white alternate very often. So it is nice to see. And I just want to clarify, too, that you said that's a Vegas gold color, but I'm 95% sure that's a shiny gold, especially in the logo, you could tell. But I'm 95% sure on the striping it's also a shiny gold, kind of almost like what Vegas would have. And not just like a flat Vegas color.
I'm sure it's going to have its own name and not match the exact PMS or Pantone credentials of Vegas Gold, but I think it just used Vegas Gold to kind of portray the image of the jersey rather than trying to describe exactly what type of gold it is. It's 50th anniversary gold, and who knows, it may end up having a name like that.
Yeah, I would probably put it closer to Vegas's gold, though, than I would to Vegas. Like, well, okay, the Vegas Golden Knights shiny gold, rather than the color like the Penguins used to use, Vegas gold.
So maybe a metallic gold.
Yeah, metallic gold, exactly. Like, I'm pretty sure it's the shiny metallic gold, not a flat color of gold.
Right. Steve, your initial thoughts here when you saw the jersey?
Pleasantly surprised. I say that because this is not only like we said, it's a nice surprise to see a white jersey to be used as an alternate or for like a special event jersey. It's a hard thing to do, you know? Like, it's really hard to pull off a good white jersey, and just the blue and the gold with the white is a classic combination, and its color balance that I noticed on it, while it does feel a little bit off with that gold, I think because it is a 50th jersey, it works perfectly on it because that blue looks so deep in it, but it's also that gold sticks out really, really well. So it's a very pleasant surprise, and it's not something I would have expected from them.
Yeah, I totally agree with you on the gold. It sticks out, and you understand what they're doing. I guess it's the golden anniversary is what they're going for, and I'm going to be happy that it appears it's going to be a 1-year thing, 50th anniversary jersey. No problem with that at all. Let's get into the negatives, and as I'm looking at it here, I'm trying to find negatives, and I can't say it's a perfect jersey because at this point, Buffalo Sabres fans just want the old jerseys back. And the 2018 Winter Classic was maybe the closest they'll get to it ever. So maybe it's a little disappointing, or maybe a negative is that it's not in line with their original set, but I don't think we're ever going to get back that way. So at this point, I'm going to have to reserve any kind of negatives because I think I want to see an entire uniform along with an official release. I'm sure who knows, there may be some sort of hanger effect in the collar too, that we haven't seen yet, or just some details that aren't picked up in the leaked image. So it's not a perfect jersey, but I don't have any negatives at this point. Yeah.
From what it kind of looks like, honestly, it looks like they put all the previous logos in the collar. Like I'm looking at it closely, and I noticed one, it looks like they did that heat stamp effect in the Sabres logo on the center of it. And it looks like that they have the goat head in the collar.
Yeah, I think you're right, Steve.
I think they have something in the middle.
The goat head.
Okay,
and I see the slug on the right.
The slug's on the far right.
At the very least, I see that crescent shape of the slug.
So that'll be definitely something. The hanger effect is what it is. I mean, it's hard to rag on it because it's just gimmicky. And it's there to sell jerseys and be different, right? So at this point, I find it hard to rag on the hanger effect. I don't think there's anything that's going to be awesome. I think the only hanger effect where I've been like, wow, that's great, is Nashville's piano keys. That's about it. But Sean, we'll go to you for your negatives.
I wanted gold numbers. It's as simple as that. I think the blue numbers look terrible. It's such a small thing for me to be like, oh, it's terrible, it's negative. But for whatever reason, it's bothering me. And I think the problem that I have with it is, you got this dull gold with minimal blue, and then you got that faux white, cream wheat, whatever you want to call it. And then you got the numbers, and it's just like, that is dull too. Take it back to the Philly 50th anniversary jersey, and while the jersey striping itself was very simple, the big bright numbers really saved it and made it quite likable even. So I'm not saying that they should have done the exact same thing, but just it really adds to what otherwise is a boring jersey, and without it, it's just I don't have much love for it.
Interesting, because I think for me, if the numbers were gold, that would be too much gold just for me. But that's actually a good point. This jersey is supposed to have a gold theme, so it would have been interesting to have gold numbers rather than navy numbers.
The entire jersey should have been metallic gold.
Beautiful. Just bunch of foily bastards skating around out there.
No striping at all. And the logos and numbers are just embossed.
So you want them to be like the Oklahoma City Blazers from the mid-thousands, having the AK sheen as the entire fabric?
How dare you? Sheen was popular.
Take the Vegas Golden Knights sleeve stripes and make it into an entire jersey. You're welcome.
You're welcome.
I can't wait to see the knockoffs.
Oh my goodness, yes.
Because you notice the color changes. Just imagine what those are going to look like on a fake jersey.
Oh yeah.
Beepo, your negatives here.
Whoa.
What?
You're skipping me here.
I got you down on the next one, Steve.
Right.
If you're ready to go, you can go ahead of Beepo. Sorry, Beepo.
No. I'm going to be kind and let him go.
All right, Beepo.
No, Steve, after you. Let's turn this into a war.
Someone better give their
again.
negatives. Sean's going again. He's got some new negatives for you people. Go ahead, Beepo.
No, seriously. Go ahead, Beefo.
All right. Well, I think that the gold, like having the stripes the way they are, gold, blue, gold, works well for this as a 50th jersey. In a vacuum, though, I probably would have switched the gold and the blue and had the blue stripes be the primary color and the gold in the middle, just because the blue just has a better contrast with the white. But I'll get into the positives on the way that they did it more once we get into the positives section. I also probably would have incorporated the gold into the logo a little bit differently, because having it navy blue on the gold, again, doesn't contrast as well as if you had like the saber or the sabers, like the blades themselves, and maybe the buffalo in white. Basically, just the current Sabres logo with metallic gold instead of yellow. I think that would look a little bit better, but again, I don't know if I really blame them for doing it the way they did, just considering the whole gold theme that this is going for the 50th anniversary. But ultimately, I still think that they should have gone with a completely metallic gold jersey, like I mentioned before. I think it would have been much better that way.
All right, Steve, we've waited with bated breath, and now let's hear your negatives.
My negatives, I get a football jersey feel, like an old-fashioned football jersey feel from the striping. Mm-hmm. And it bothers me because those jerseys where the hem stripe feels like an afterthought? It doesn't feel like it was put on there because it needed to be put on there. So that's what this kind of feels like. Also, I'm not upset that they have the navy numbers, because I feel like that would be too much gold. But at the same time, I would have to see what it looks like with what pants they're using, what helmet, because I'm going to say this now, if they decide for some reason to go with like white pants and a white helmet and white everything, I'm going to be shocked, because I think it could pull off on it, but at the same time, that's going to be butt ugly.
Yeah, that would be scary. That's not good.
But the thing is, like, I feel like they've set it up to be that way. Like, it's such a minimalist jersey style that I feel like putting it with navy pants and a white helmet, and that wouldn't mesh as well as all white. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Shiny gold helmet, shiny gold gloves, shiny gold pants, shiny gold skates.
That wouldn't necessarily be as bad as white, though.
Just a bunch of C-3POs skating around out there. No big deal.
Shiny gold sticks as well. They must spray paint their sticks into shiny gold before the game.
You really know how to ruin things, Beepo. Good for you.
Shiny gold
No, what they'll do is they'll buy that blade tape. You ever see that stuff?
Oh, yeah, the old blade tape. Yeah.
It's literally just like
the one-piece kind of sticker, essentially, wasn't it?
The one-piece stick you put on the front and the back.
Yeah.
So they're just going to get one that's just like solid gold and has like a what looks like an embossed Sabres logo on it.
Oh, that's gross. All right, well, those are the negatives. Let's get on to the positives. I think there's a lot here. I do kind of like the use of navy and gold here. I know, I think, the original royal and gold would have been preferred, but this metallic gold with navy is a neat idea for an anniversary jersey. It makes it seem special, so that's pretty cool. I know Sean mentioned he'd like to see gold numbers. I like the navy numbers here. And the big thing, from the leaked image, it looks like Buffalo's just going to use the trim of the collar, which I think is probably the best use of the Adidas collar. I'm okay with the kind of half collars that a lot of teams are using. Whatever, that's fine. But I think the best use of the Adidas collar is just using that upper trim, and it looks like Buffalo's going to do that here with this jersey. So that's my biggest positive coming out of this. Sean, your positives.
As I mentioned before, I don't have a lot of affinity for this jersey as of right now. I think it's a little too plain. But that being said, I do actually really like the color choices here. And I think that if they just used more of it, unless, and especially these days, you can't really tell how much color a full jersey set's going to have until you get the gear. Take Anaheim's away, for example. On top of that, I do not hate the vintage white in the logo. I actually kind of like that idea since it links it back to the 40th anniversary jersey. And overall, I actually think this does a good job of linking itself back to the 40th anniversary jersey.
What is this vintage white you're talking about?
Yeah, I'm not catching on to that, Sean.
Look at the primary logo.
I see navy and gold.
Shiny metallic gold.
That's shiny metallic gold. Oh, fuck's sakes.
That's the metallic gold that we spent a couple minutes talking about.
Dude, what are you looking at it on?
Sean, can you send us the image that you're looking at?
The top image on the blog post. Oh, shit.
Actually?
I see it now.
Yeah, you're right. That does look like Vegas, or that does look like the vintage white. I blame this on you, Ryan.
Okay, that's fair.
Actually, you know what? It's okay. It's okay. I don't actually. I'm a big fan of matte gold. I am not a big fan of dark metallic gold. I like bright metallic gold. So
what about Matthew gold?
Semi-gloss
gold.
No, he has no thoughts on such.
What are we painting a car now?
We're half hour in. Sean wants to start over and redo everything. Has your world been blown to pieces, Sean? Have you changed your opinion of this thing?
No, it just makes more. No, you know what? It doesn't. It's just it really makes me go, okay. At least someone in the room didn't think, let's have 2 shades of white and a muted gold color on the jersey, and somehow think that that's okay. But yeah, my thoughts stay the same.
And your positives?
Those were my positives. I like the color choice. I like the color choices. And if somebody knew what they were doing, they might be able to make something good.
We should get a severe, not even just a severely colorblind person on, but a colorblind person who's not a hockey fan, and then have them review these jerseys. That's so cruel. It would be hilarious.
What about a completely blind person?
Oh, just imagine.
People, that's too far.
Imagine slapping the turd burger down in front of someone who was bad at picking out shades and trying to tell them that there were, in fact, 4 shades of gold or silver on that jersey. And they had to find it, and they couldn't leave the room until they found the 4 of them.
You guys are awful. You guys are awful.
That's mean.
All right, Beepo, put us back on the rails. What are your positives?
Well, I mentioned in my negatives that in a vacuum, I probably would have switched the blue and the gold and the striping. But in the context of a 50th anniversary jersey, I really like the way that they did it. I think that it emphasizes the gold as opposed to the blue, which is what you want from something like this. And it also gives it a lot more of a vintage look to it. Like, it looks more like it belongs, back in the day than it does in the modern day. Like, not like more than it does belong there today, but, it looks like it really could fit well back in the day. And especially if you pair it with blue pants and blue gear. And the blue helmet thing you said is interesting. I don't know how I'd feel about that until I saw it. But if you pair it with blue pants and blue gloves, while the color balance may be a bit interesting, I think, again, it would just give it that vintage feel that would be perfect for a jersey like this. And also, an underrated thing that a lot of people probably wouldn't really notice or point out is that I love the fact that they did not put a yoke on this jersey, because a lot of times, especially in concepts, I see people will just throw a yoke on the jersey, and at least in my opinion, it almost seems like they're just kind of throwing it there just to add an extra color or an extra contrast of color. And a lot of the times, in my opinion, it's completely unnecessary, and all it does is make it way too busy. And granted, I think that some teams pull it off well, like the Sabres, current roads, and the Oilers do it well. And this jersey with a blue yoke, I think would look fine, but I really love how crisp and clean it looks without one.
All right, good stuff there. Steve, your positives for the Buffalo Sabres 50th anniversary jersey.
You know what? What sticks out is if you were to throw this to me, I would assume this would have been something they possibly could have worn when they first started. Because I truly think that they dug deep in the history and they wanted to make it look like a Sabres jersey or something that the Sabres could have worn in the beginning and just bring it to Adidas. And that's one of the great things about the Adidas jersey itself is that it works so much better for classic jerseys, for pre-Edge jerseys, than the Edge did. And I think it's the fact that what complements it is the thick blue stripe with the 4 gold stripes. Really does place emphasis. It just has a vintage feel to it. But you can, if you didn't know that it wasn't the 50th anniversary, you would think it would have been maybe like a throwback they could have worn or something. So I think that's really what it has going for it, is that they did a good throwback feel on it, but it's something new and something fresh. But like I said, I'd like to see it with all the equipment prior to making a final judgment of saying whether this thing totally passes or fails. But for selling, just as wearing it, I think it's a good jersey to have.
Yeah, and I would agree with you that we do need to see more. I'd say that for the Buffalo Sabres, this was kind of one of those best-case scenario leaks, and who knows, maybe these things were leaked on purpose. That happens, but this still has a lot of intrigue to it. We've seen it. It wasn't a perfect picture. There's still lots of answers, lots of questions. So I still think this is kind of a best-case scenario for them because we're still looking forward to the release and all the additional details that we can't pick up, and that may change our opinions of it going forward. But all right, let's get into our rating now for the Buffalo Sabres jerseys. We've gone over our positives. We've gone over our negatives. Sabres 50th anniversary jersey. Looking at this whole package, I'm giving it an 8. The colors look good. I like the use of the collar. Still need to see what they're going to do with the equipment, and that could change the rating. But right now, I'm giving it an 8. Sean?
6.
Just a flat out, here's your 6.
Flat out, here's your 6. Not a big fan. But I would actually, you know what? If we got the full Navy gear, I'd give it an 8. Because in that case, you got the Anaheim away thing where, sure, the jersey itself doesn't balance right, but on the full set on the ice, it looks good. So that's what the players wear ideally. So you'd never really want to own it, but you'd still pull it off.
All right, Beepo, your rating of the Buffalo Sabres 50th anniversary jersey.
I'll give this one an 8 for what we see right now, and depending on the equipment, that could probably go either way. You know, and I'm going to bump it up to an 8.5 right now, and especially if it has Navy gear, but depending on the gear, again, that could go down once we see what they decide to go with.
And Steve, wrap us up. Your rating for the Buffalo Sabres 50th anniversary jersey.
I'll give it an 8. So I think it's like I said, the fact that it looks classic, it talks about, it really accentuates the gold for the golden anniversary. But I mean, I really do want to see how it looks with the gear.
Okay, that brings with a high score of 8.5 from Beepo and a low score of 6 from Sean. That brings the average rating to 7.6 amongst us for the Buffalo Sabres 50th anniversary jersey. And I'm sure we'll have to circle back on this because there is still gear and there might be some details that we haven't seen yet. Our next topic this week is just a minor change that that had been reported and we were all expecting, and thank goodness they've made this change. The Chicago Blackhawks are toning back their collar. So instead of it being a 3/4 white ring going around their jersey or a red ring on their away jersey. They're going to the Adidas half collar. They're keeping the black trim on the upper portion of the collar, but they're going with a half collar. Now, we've only seen the red jersey, and that was from a video released by the Blackhawks promoting the beta release of NHL 20, which you can sample on Xbox. If you're listening this to the week that this comes out, you can sample NHL 20 beta right now on PS4 and Xbox. But we got to look at the Chicago Blackhawks home red jersey with the new style collar. We did a couple mock-ups on jerseynerdspodcast.com. Again, you can go over there, get all our show notes, see all the images that go along with this episode. So we'll do an overall comment because it is kind of a minor change and we haven't seen the road jersey yet, but just some things to think about in your comments. Whether or not this is a good change and if it makes the sweater better. Does this improve the sweater? And if they could have done any more, what would you have liked to see them do? And then we'll get to kind of a bit of a different rating. But Sean, considering all of that, your thoughts here?
Yeah, I mean, it's such a small thing, but when you're dealing with an original six team, collar means everything. I mean, think about it like this. We've seen in the past decade, Montreal's had collar issues. The Rangers currently continue to have a collar issue. Chicago's had a collar issue. That's half of the original six right there have had some form of collar. And you know what? You could even say to a point Toronto had one up until they decided to bring the white collar back on the blue jerseys. So, it's something that people do scrutinize a lot. And I think that given what, the options were no collar, or like an invisible collar if you prefer, make it the same color as the jersey, which half the people would have been happy with, or no, I wouldn't even say half, maybe a quarter would have been happy with. But, purists are going to pure. And, the next option would have been to make a full white collar or a red collar with the black trim on the inside, basically trying to mimic what the Blackhawks have had since 65. And I think that with this, you're finally moving forward, but you still have that design. You got that half and half look that the Adidas collar, admittedly, I've grown to like this half and half look quite a bit. But I'm of the opinion that, the invisible collar would have been the best option to go with, despite the lack of color you might have had. I really would have liked that look, but as is, I think that people should be happy with what they're getting here.
So we'll go to Steve second on this one. And Steve, is this a good change, and has it made the sweater better?
Honestly, I think it is an improvement, but I've always been a fan of what the pre-edge in the 50s and 60s did. It was just a plain black collar. I think that would have worked just as well on here. Instead of having either all black or having the invisible collar, I think that would have been much better than going the half and half. I understand where they're coming from with it because if you look at a Reebok Edge version of the Blackhawks jersey, I feel like that's one thing where they ran into issues with the collars, that this collar has one color that's just so solid and so thick compared to previous collars of hockey jerseys where you could have three equal colors. I feel like they were boxed into a corner in this, but switching to this, it's definitely an improvement, but it's not the best option they have.
Beepo, again, is this a good change, and does it help the jersey, or what would you have done?
I mean, it's not great, but it's so much better than what they had before. I mean, looking at the top of the Blackhawks jersey is no longer an eyesore anymore. It honestly surprised me something as small as that does make such a difference, but it really does. And I think I agree with Steve and Sean, really, that this isn't their ideal look. in my opinion, their ideal look would be, I think, exactly what Sean said, maybe a little bit different with the invisible collar, as he put it, but, keep that black trim. And I would be really intrigued to see what Steve said with having the collar completely black. I'm not sure how that would look, but I think it would look perfect if you just if you basically just took what you did and hit the repeat button, just hit Command J, and just repeated it, just got rid of that ring going all the way around and just left that black trim right there. I think that would look perfect for them.
Yeah, I agree on that one. That's what I would have done. I don't think the Reebok Edge collar worked well for the Hawks jersey, which was kind of mentioned, and the Adidas collar doesn't work well for the Hawks jersey. So just a simplified trim collar would have been best or ideal for me here. But let's look at a rating and rate the Hawks jersey, the whole Hawks jersey, with the old style Adidas collar, and then provide the same rating but considering the new modified collar. Sean, we'll start with you.
All right, so with the old style collar, I would still give them probably a 7.5, give or take. I really think that the white jersey has it a lot worse because I'm not a fan of white collars on colored jerseys, and the Leafs have this problem too, where it looks like you have a collar. You always look constantly on draft day. You got a big white, dress shirt collar sticking out through your jersey. I don't like that look. I grew up in an era where teams really didn't have colored collars, or if they did, it was subtle. So I've never been a fan of that. The white jersey, actually, I think you could have left it, to be honest with you. And with the current ones, I think that they go back up to that. They really do go back up to a 9. I've always been a bigger fan of the white jersey between them. And honestly, you know what? A lot of places are going to be scrambling to sell off their Blackhawks jerseys from last year. And
the Hawks store already is.
Yeah, you should get them because guys like Alex DePrinket and Dylan Strome, these guys who just came out of nowhere and had fantastic seasons, you might want to get one of these because when they're, stars of the team and they're, they might have a cup in a few years, you never know. And all of a sudden you were the one who years before was like, yeah, I got a Dylan Strome Hawks jersey from, 2019. What about it? You're just that cool.
All right. Steve, your rating of the Hawks jersey before they modified the collar and then after.
I'd have to give it a solid 7. So I mean, it's the Hawks jersey is iconic, but that collar really brought it down. So what we're gonna do, what I would say on this would be that they did a good job, but really, if anything, I would give probably 8.5, 8.75 with the collar they did now. Just like I said, it's an improvement, but it's not the best improvement they could have done.
Beepo, your rating before and after.
Before, I would give it a 7 because the jersey is really nice, but that collar just sticks out so much. After the change, I would probably give it an 8. And I know you didn't ask for this one, but if you gave it what I thought their ideal look would be with the invisible collar with the black trim, a solid 9.5. But as it is, 8.
I think the red jersey for me might be the best hockey jersey of all time. Hockey jersey, because I think you can literally apply anybody's colors to that jersey template, and it's gonna look very good. So, but that collar, that Adidas collar, it was an eyesore when it came out, and almost everybody knew it instantly. And it should be marked as such. So it's a 7.9, just under an 8. But now that they've made the changes, I'll bump it up a full point. It's an 8.9. There's still room to improve, but it's still a fantastic jersey.
Okay, Ryan, I got one thing to put into this.
Mm-hmm.
The 2016 Stadium Series collar. If you put that on the current set,
the kind of wraparound one with the Chicago Stars on it?
Exactly.
Oh.
You put that. Would it be better or worse than the original Adidas collars?
Ooh, good.
I'd say better.
It would be better. I mean, on this jersey.
Not even close.
On this jersey, because that big white collar on the home Hawks jersey was really bad. It was really bad.
Actually, I think that you could pull it off on the black if you did, because if you remember, like both Winter Classics that Chicago did, where they wore the white jersey, they just had a solid black collar.
Yep.
So in theory, if you wanted to go back to a solid black collar and put the Chicago Stars in on there, I really don't think it would look that bad. Now, I know you're a purist, so this I'm speaking is sacrilege.
It's a progressive.
I'm sure you want.
It's a progressive idea that I could learn to accept.
It's not. I'm sorry, it's not solid collar tie down.
All right, we got to stop calling. I mean, you guys can call it a tie down if you want, but the tie down is on the back of the jersey. The laces are on the front of the jersey. That seems like a fake or authentic thing. We're moving on now to the Brampton Beast new red sweater. This was a bit of a surprise that it was revealed. The Beast hired some new coaches, and they needed the new red sweater. They thought it would be an appropriate time to show this off. So we have a new roundel logo on the front with the Beast kind of clawing his way through it. The neat thing here is we have square shoulder yokes with claw marks across it. And then we have a rather simple striping system on the arms, but it still uses all the team's colors. It's a white stripe outlined in thick black stripes and then outlined in thin gray stripes. The hem is just a black stripe with one outline of a thin gray stripe. And again, to see this jersey, head on over to jerseynerdspodcast.com, and all the images for this episode are there. Sean, we'll start off with you. You've seen the jersey, your positives and negatives here.
I mean, first of all, kudos to the Brampton Beast for still existing. For those of you who don't know, the Brampton Beast started off in the Central Hockey League when that was a thing. And I don't know, they're a Montreal affiliate team in the Toronto area, and man, they're still going, so good for them.
Now they're Ottawa.
Jersey.
They're Ottawa.
Now they're Ottawa. Oh, that's even worse. Oh man. Story of survival for the Brampton Beast. Is that at the end of the day, the odds are against you, but you keep going. I love it. I've always wanted them to have a red jersey. I think that it complements the gray and black better than black and gray. Better than the red looks better as a primary color than it does as a secondary color. I think that they use the colors really well here. I would have liked to see some white on the hems. I love the claw marks on the shoulders. I think that's something that you can really pull off in the ECHL. And it's a lot simpler of a jersey than the home and road are. The home and road are, I don't hate them, but they are a little bit cluttered. So this is a lot simpler. And while I can't really think of anything without an overhaul or basing it around this set, basing around this alternate to make a set out of that would look anything near better than the current home and road, I think that fans are going to really like seeing this.
I can tell you right here now, Sean, that this is not an alternate.
Oh.
Yes.
That's exactly what I was about to say, because I remember Jeff was telling us in our Uniform Madness chat that this is not an alternate jersey.
That's correct.
Because if you actually look at the picture, you can see that the black and the white one are CCM branded still. And for some reason, I guess they decided to use the old jerseys in that press release too.
If this is a thing to come, wow. They're going to be one of the best-looking teams in the ECHL next year. Also, I like the fact that they went back for this new primary logo and went back to the cliche of the 90s of cartoony mascot climbing out of a circle, and yet it looks good because a lot of those didn't.
It's actually based on the whole jersey. This jersey is based on the concept that Jeff Tasca did, and he's lead designer at Athletic Knit, so that's why it makes sense. But he kind of fiddled with the logo, came up with this, and the Beast saw it online, liked it, and that's why they've gone ahead in this direction. So I
suggest paintbrush numbers?
What was that?
Can I suggest paintbrush numbers like what Tampa had? Like, tell me that wouldn't
Absolutely not.
Tell me that wouldn't
Absolutely not. As cool as that would look, don't they actually make numbers that have the claws on them?
Oh, you mean like what the Wild had in the early 2000s?
Yeah.
Oh, actually, yeah, no, I take it back. Okay. Early 2000s Wild numbers on that, and you got yourself the best-looking jersey in the Eastern Hockey League's Eastern time zone.
It's 2000 all over again, folks.
Sean, just a quick rating out of 10 here.
Ooh, solid 9 right here. I like what I see.
Wow, impressive rating. Beepo, let's go to you. Your positives, negatives, and then wrap it in a bow with your rating.
I really like this jersey, especially that, again, it's a home for a home and road set. Or does the ECHL use dark at home? Either way, it's part of the primary set, and it's not an alternate.
Flip.
Okay, well, I'm glad that it's the dark primary jersey for sure, and not just an alternate. As you guys know, I love color, so I'm really glad that this thing is red and not black. The striping on the arms, I really like it. I don't mind the way that they did it on the hem either, because it stays consistent one way or another. The claw marks on the shoulders, like Sean said, I think it really works because it's the ECHL, and this is the type of place you could pull it off. And as I was talking about with Buffalo and the yokes, I actually think that this is a jersey that pulls off the shoulder yoke really well. And the updated logo looks great, and there's not too much to complain about with this thing. It's unique. It doesn't look like it's just a cookie cutter of another team's jersey, and it looks great. I'd probably have to give it an 8.5 out of 10. And a funny story that Jeff sent in our Uniform Madness chat again is that whenever Athletic Nick got the ECHL contract, the Beast went to them and they were like, we found this concept online and we really like it, but would we get in trouble because we don't know who made it? And Athletic Nick's basically like, well, buddy, you're in luck.
Yeah.
That's our guy.
And that's exactly how it went down. Steve, positives and negatives here of this red sweater, and wrap it up with your rating.
I'm going to have to say this brings me back to the 90s and the thousands, when a time when unique things like claw marks on jerseys were very welcomed, and it helped you stand apart from everyone else, and it made you unique, and it made your jersey desirable. So the fact that they're making this a primary instead of just saying, oh, no, we're just going to stick with what we had and going to use this as an alt, I'm extremely happy about, because one, it's red. Two, it has the Beast logo coming out of the logo itself, coming out of a roundel, which I have a feeling that's going to be something that's going to make a comeback, but hopefully it's done in a more tasteful way, but this logo works perfectly for it. The claw marks are beautiful on the shoulder yoke, and it doesn't look cheap, and it doesn't look like a roller hockey jersey. And overall, this just hits off really well. It's unique. It's clearly something for them, and when someone sees this, they're going to stop and they're going to say, whose jersey is that? So they did an excellent job with it. I can't wait to see what it looks completely like on the ice. So,
yeah, I would agree with you, Steve, that this is totally a Brampton Beast jersey because of the claw marks. That they can take full ownership of it, and it's a really well put together hockey jersey, and that is especially considering the two that they had prior to this one, the white one and the black one, which were just they were almost like edge cookie cutters because it was just easiest, and this one is different, and they went out and did their own thing. And my only drawback would be I would like to see the stripes that are on the arms used on the hem in some way instead of just a black stripe with a gray outline. That would be preferable, but I think that's the only thing that's really holding back this jersey. So I'm going to throw this jersey I'll match Bepo's 8.5 on this one. And sorry, Steve, I missed your rating for the Beast jersey.
I'm going to have to give this one an 8.5 as well. So it's a great jersey. There can be some nitpicky points to improve it, but overall very good for a minor league team.
All right, so the average rating here comes out to 8.6. That's a bunch of 8.5s plus Sean's rating of 9. And I can tell you that there is more to come from the Brampton Beast and the ECHL, so we'll be sure to follow that as those jerseys come out. It is now time to move on to fake or authentic. Fake or authentic? Fake or authentic is the part of the podcast where I come up with statements, and it's up to the co-host to determine whether or not those statements are fake or authentic, just like the jerseys you see throughout NHL arenas. So here we go. 3 statements. Statement number 1, fake or authentic, black hockey tape on the blade of my hockey stick, not white. Sean, fake or authentic?
Well, fake, but I had red.
Just because it looked cool?
Yeah, I'll be honest. I just thought red tape looked cool, and it was yeah. But before I discovered the magic of red hockey tape, it was black. Yeah, I don't like white. Despite the fact that white hockey tape, when it's worn down, looks pretty cool, I don't like how it looks new.
Fair enough. And I guess that's why, I mean, there's other reasons why, but some people will take the puck and kind of mark up their white tape. I'm sure there's other reasons why as well. I personally use black hockey tape it's a logistical thing, just to try and disguise the puck to the goalie, but in a quick situation. But anyways, Bepo, fake or authentic black hockey tape on your stick, not white?
I don't really know what to say, because it's dependent for me on what color my stick is. And let me put it this way. I use the Artemi Panarin tape job. And if you don't know what that looks like, Google Artemi Panarin tape, just word for word, and it should be the first image. And granted, it's in a list of the worst tape jobs, but I completely disagree with that. I like this tape job. And what it is, for a little description, is basically when it's a half, like the half blade, where you cover the toe and you go about halfway up. But you also put a strip of tape on, like, the bottom. Like, if you're looking at the stick from the front as like a 2-dimensional shape, you put it along the bottom, and that strip at the bottom matches the color of your stick, but the wrap around is a contrasting color. So on a black stick, that would be white, wrapping around, and then black as the strip on the bottom. But if it's a white stick, it's the reverse. So I don't really know what to say for that. I guess my answer to fake or authentic is yes, because technically I'm using both at the same time no matter what I'm doing.
Oh, people, thanks for not playing the game properly, you dirty fence sitter.
At least you didn't use clear tape. I used clear tape. When I first started playing goalie, okay, because I played goalie in defense. When I played defense, I had black hockey tape. When I played goalie, I for a very brief, like maybe 2 games, clear.
Sean, come on now.
Like, I use clear tape, but I use it on my socks.
Yeah.
Why would you ever use it on your stick?
Dude, really?
All right, Steve.
I thought it would look cool, but it turns out it just looks off yellow, and you can't control anything.
No, that might be one of the worst things I've heard. Steve, fake or authentic?
Ryan,
yeah.
Sorry to interrupt, but even if I was answering this question without, like, going into the Artemi Panarin tape job, I still couldn't even answer you, because sometimes I just switch up just for the hell of it, like superstition, I guess. Like, oh, I'm not playing very good with this tape. Gonna switch it up just because of that. So I don't really just keep it consistent anyways. At least I didn't used to. Now I keep it consistent with the Artemi Panarin thing, and that depends on the color of the stick.
I would throw you in the fake category, because whereas my statement is very definitive, it says black, not white. you change it up, admittedly change it up to both colors. So I would put you in the fake category because you don't stick to just black tape.
Okay, that's fair. If you really go into the wording of the question, that works perfectly.
This is an issue that we have to dive deep in, so we have to make sure we get definitive answers here. Steve, let's get your definitive answer. Fake or authentic?
So, just so I have this correct, you prefer black tape over white tape?
That is correct on the blade of my hockey stick.
Blade of hockey stick, I would have to agree because every hockey stick that I've owned, I've only had one that was a white blade, and black tape looked better on it than the white because it wasn't an actual pure white. It was a Coho, and I think it was Yager. A Yager stick. It was navy blue stick, but the blade was white, and I hated that thing. But then I got a Joe Sakic's, I believe it's an Easton stick, and it was all black and had some blue accents, and it was beautiful and glorious. And I've had a stick that has had a black blade ever since, and I just use black because, one, it's in bulk in the majority of the stores you will find. And two, every person that I played with preferred black over having the white tape. So, but the only time I ever actually used the white tape was when I was in high school and marching band. We got white hockey tape and we taped our drumsticks with them because it was easier to hold the drumstick with that than the vinyl electrical tape that we were using.
I think I've heard about that before, so that's awesome.
Well, here's the problem is that the sticks did not balance. Like, the drumsticks did not balance like they would with electrical tape. So, but the good news was because it was so wide, we could just tape it thinner than what we would use with an electrical tape. And electrical tape was it's stupid expensive. And then, of course, I started dating my wife, and her father owns a hardware store, and he sold me rolls of it for $1, and then that was the end of the hockey tape. But
oh no, I need someone to sell me rolls of hockey tape for $1. But while we're on the topic of hockey tape, if you're a big hockey tape fan, some people don't care. Some people really are into it, like myself. Howie's Hockey or Howie's Hockey Tape is definitely just a cool website to check out. Plus, they sell tape. Don't know if it's really worth it to ship across the border. They are a Canadian company, but definitely worth checking them out if you're into hockey tape.
I believe they are a ACHA affiliate.
Perfect. They do, and I think they supply ECHL as well. Yeah, they got a lot of stuff going. So,
they're a great company.
Another thing to mention too regarding tape is if you're a big fan, especially of watching like how pros tape their sticks, look up Mark Savard on YouTube. I'm not entirely sure if he's still going. I haven't watched his videos in a little while. I kind of just binged them all at once and then stopped. But he's done a lot of videos on, replicating certain pro players' tape jobs, and they're really interesting with how much he knows about them, especially, which is understandable considering that with some of the guys he's in the locker room, and either way, he's a former NHL player, so I'm sure it's not that hard to be like, hey, I want to do a video on your tape job. If you'd let me, if you'd kind of give me some insight on your process and just kind of talk to some of these other guys. But it's really interesting. Whether he's actively still doing it or not, I'm not sure.
No, he's not, because he's an assistant coach with the Blues now. So
okay, but they're probably still on YouTube. If for some reason he's deleted them, I'm sure somebody's re-uploaded them, and they're really interesting to watch.
Tape and Twigs with Savvy. I love watching those, and I do ridiculous tape things with my stick that don't need to be done, but just for the sheer enjoyment of taping a hockey stick, I do them. So, fake or authentic? No, never, Sean. Never. That should be a fake or authentic.
I should have mentioned I was 8.
You're still an idiot.
So let's make this clear. I didn't do this recently. The red tape I still do, but the clear tape thing I did when I was 8. I don't want people getting the idea that like last week I pulled out my old wooden goalie stick, which yes, I do still play with a wooden goalie stick.
Okay, fake or authentic number 2. I prefer old school goalie masks that had the white trim between the cage and the face of the mask rather than the new style where the paint job just goes right to the edge of the face. And we'll have an image of this on jerseynerdspodcast.com so you can see what I'm talking about. I'm talking about back in the 80s, early 90s. You take a look at someone like Felix Potvin. So where the cage overlapped the actual helmet, that was white. The paint job wouldn't go underneath there. Nowadays, the style has it where the paint job is underneath the overlapping cage part. So I like the old school style because I like old things. So fake or authentic, Sean?
Ooh, this is tough because I can remember when goalies stopped looking like that. Would have been quite young, but it's tough because honestly, what I would like to do would be to outline that area in black, then have the paint job go over it. Think of it like a little area of, I don't know, like acting as a blinder per se.
Interesting.
But yeah, like, you know, kind of like, think of it like a square of eye black almost. That's what I would do with mine. But I don't have a goalie mask that has a custom paint job on it. So I'm going to say completely authentic here because I think all my favorite goalie masks are like probably the same as yours, Ryan.
Old school style ones?
Old school style ones from the 90s and early 2000s. Like, I think...
like a great example of this, I just thought about this. If you look up Ed Belfour's Eddie the Eagle mask with Chicago versus the one that he used with Toronto, you'll get an idea of what I'm talking about here. And I prefer the one with Chicago because it had that white trim underneath of the cage. And when he ended up and he might have done this with San Jose, I don't remember, but when he ended up in Toronto, that white trim really wasn't there, and I just prefer the old style mask, and there's no real reason for it. So we'll go to Steve for your idea on this one, fake or authentic on your type of goalie mask.
Honestly, I'm gonna have to sit on the fence on this one.
Steve, that's my job.
In a perfect world, I will say fake on this because it really depends on the paint job. If you're doing something like who was the Flames goalies last year that did the faux cage?
Oh, Mike Smith.
Yeah.
Mike
something
Smith,
like
yeah.
that. Yeah, something like that. You really can't do the line around. Now, if it's just a design, if it's like something, say, like what Marc-Andre Fleury would do every year with the bricks when he was a Penguin, yeah, a subtle outline would definitely help because then it would put more focus on there. But certain paint jobs, like just to have that border around there, I can understand why they don't do it is because they just want to make it feel continuous. So, but if you're doing something like classic, like a Potvin, or if you're going from like Tom Barrasso's Penguins days and his Ottawa days, just much more simpler striping designs, yes, I think that definitely adds to the character of it. Or if you're going for Potvin, where he always had the cat eye design on his helmet, yes, that definitely works. But if you're going for like photorealism, like what Fleury has with the Vegas cityscape on there on one side, and then I can't even remember what he has on the other side. Or if you're going for something like what Jonathan Quick has done with his goalie mask, where it looks like a knight helmet, that border is just going to look weird. So I'm going to go with fake because it depends on the style of paint job that you're going with and what you choose to put on there.
Good stuff there, Steve. Beepo, fake or authentic on this issue?
Like Steve said, I think it does depend a lot on what the design is and what the paint job is. And obviously there are going to be exceptions to the rule either way, but I think I'm completely fake on this one. I think in a lot of cases, I mean, I haven't looked at like every old mask that breaks up with the white. But with the ones that I've seen, I don't like it as much as having it continuous. I think in a lot of these cases, the white just, again, unnecessarily breaks it up. I don't think there's any need to stop the design where it is. And I think it looks a lot better in a lot of cases when it just continues on without breaking up. Kind of like what you said, Ryan. I'm not entirely sure why. But I just think having the white there is a little bit unnecessary in a lot of cases. And in some of them, it's just completely out of place because the design of the mask themselves or itself doesn't have much white in it. So it just looks out of place. So, yeah, I think I'd have to go just keep it continuous completely. I mean, obviously, again, there are exceptions to the rule, but for the rule, just keep it continuous.
And I do have to ask a question for everyone. If you were in the NHL on your favorite team, what would the theme of your goalie mask paint be? Ryan.
Oh, it would definitely be a retro style mask.
Would you copy Potvin?
No, you can't copy someone. I don't like the idea of copying someone. A tribute is fine, but a direct copy, no, I'm not on board with.
You know what I mean by a tribute.
Yeah,
like
but
something in his style.
Like Cam Ward did it about 10 years ago, did his own tribute to a Felix Potvin mask. But it was Hurricanes themed, and Potvin never played for the Hurricanes, so I think that worked. But it would be for the Leafs, and I don't think you could do it properly without copying it. So I would definitely go something that looked like it should be from
the 80s,
from the late 80s, but using as much modern technology as possible to make it unique for modern day.
Would it just be like all Leafs, or because I forgot who the goalie was for Penn State, but I thought this would be perfect for Toronto. He did a painting of a toque that said Penn State on it.
That's pretty cool. That's cool.
I feel like that's something you would do.
Well, to me, that's like a one-time outdoor game, but I like the theme of that. I do like. I mean, I can't put down all new designs, right? Because then I'm just a grumpy old man yelling into the wind. But for me personally, I do like. I think it was amazing when you took Freddie Anderson's mask, and then which had the Lego Batman on it, and that was great. And then they wore the Arenas jerseys for the one game, and he switched to a vintage style mask with that white trim that I'm talking about. And I just think the look of it was absolutely fantastic. And that's, again, where I was getting to with my question. But let's go to fake or authentic number 3. Fake or authentic in a shootout. I'd rather be the goalie stopping the last shot than the shooter scoring the winning goal. Sean, fake or authentic?
I don't know. I'd want to be the goalie. I thrive on, I don't know, again, I did play it, so I kind of thrive on that kind of healthy amount of pressure you have there. You know, I find that in that kind of situation, I'd find it a lot easier to track the puck. And if all else fails, go to my sweet-ass glove hand. But I don't know. Also, in reference to Steve's question, I would rock Stefan Fiset's King Tut mask, but in sort of like a plated steel metal type thing, and aviator goggles on King Tut.
That would look beautiful.
That's what, exactly. And it would have, and at the bottom of it, it would have like you know, the little pilot, like the wing patches, the two wings and then the circle. It'd be that on the bottom of it, the Jets logo in the middle. And it'd be the King Tut with the beard thing in aviator goggles, doing a little smirk, and then like plated steel, and then maybe like an overhead thing.
Look like Top Gun.
That's exactly it.
If I played for the Jets, I would purposely paint my mask to look like the helmet of the pilots of the Thunderbirds.
Yeah.
Where it's that red with the star pattern that goes to a plain white mask. That's what I do.
If I had to do it originally, what I'd want to do is I want to work aviation orange into it. Like the color of all the like the color of all the supersonic jumpsuits from like the 60s. Yeah. I want to work that into it. And playing for the Jets would be so weird doing that, but like to work that in would be awesome.
Yeah, but okay. So, Ryan.
All right. Beepo, fake or authentic, rather be the goalie stopping the last shot than the shooter scoring the last goal in the shootout?
I'm again going to bring up Steve's question to us first, although I'm going to try not to make this one too long. But my favorite mask probably is Fleury's tribute mask, the 50th season one that he had all of his teammates on. I love that one. That's probably my favorite one. But something like that wouldn't work too well for me. And I'm a big fan of simplistic ones. And another one of my favorites is Matt Murray's Dennis Huron tribute one with the chevrons and just that original design. So I'd probably go with something similar to that. Not the exact same design. I mean, if it wasn't copying, I'd go with the exact same design because I really like it. But just something similar to that where it's a very simplistic design with just some color blocks and some striping or something like that. Nothing too fancy. I just love the way the simplistic look is. But for fake or authentic, I'm really on the fence for this one because I would love to be the shooter and come in and dangle the goalie and just score, or even just a shot and just score. That's always fun. But I'm going to give the edge to being the goalie and say authentic because I have done it. Whenever I played goalie in my for my amateur team, whenever I was a kid, the championship game one year we were playing and went to double overtime and a shootout, and I actually can't remember. I'm pretty sure I am the goalie who made the final save rather than my teammate scoring a goal. But either way, that was a really fun game and great memory, and obviously there's a lot of ecstasy making that last save. And also, funny story from that game. Even if I didn't make the last save, I thought we had a 5-round shootout. I thought it was 3. Or, best of 3 if somebody had the win after 3. So after the third shot, I save it, we win. I start skating over to the bench, nobody else reacts. And I have, my arms up, I'm so excited, and I'm like, huh? Why is nobody doing anything? And eventually they tell me it's 5, and I just, slowly skate back to my net.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Steve, fake or authentic?
I've been sitting on this one, and I'll give a preface of lies because for some reason I was always stuck in goal in everything. Like soccer, lacrosse, hockey, I was goalie, and I didn't hate it. I enjoyed it, but it got ridiculous to how much they wanted us to, wanted me to play goalie, and just thinking about that, it comes back kind of to the time when I played soccer goalie, and I know we're comparing apples to oranges on this one, but in soccer it's the same way, except everyone's standing back on the line and they're watching you. So not only do you have him, but you have that. But so imagining thousands of people sit there in silence while you have some guy coming down, and particularly if I'm having one of the top shooters come in to try and finish off the job on me, yeah, I'd probably have to go with I'd rather be the shooter than the goalie.
Perfect stuff. All right, that was fake or authentic for this week. Again, if you need any reference to what we were talking about, head on over to jerseynerdspodcast.com to check out all the show notes. We're now going to move on to Throwback Throwdown. Throwback Throwdown, and returning this week is our champion, the 83-84 Hartford Whalers green jersey. I mean, you have to like the odds for this jersey to win all 5 matches and move into our Throwback Throwdown Hall of Fame, but that is still down the road. This is match number 3, I believe, for this jersey. This week, I'm throwing at it kind of an interesting jersey that will get a lot of love, but also some people may hate because it has up to 16 different stripes on the chest or the front alone of the jersey. That's if you're counting black stripes. So again, we're going to go with the 91-92 throwback Hawks jersey here with the 75th anniversary patch on the front. I can't even begin to describe to you all the stripes on the front of the jersey. So if you want to see both jerseys, check out the show notes on jerseynerdspodcast.com. Of course, this is episode 86. So we gave the opportunity for the listeners to vote on this one before we went and started recording. So the results on that were for 80% to 20% for the Hartford Whalers jersey. So before we get into this, the Hartford Whalers already have one vote on the board. We've given our previous thoughts, how much we kind of love this Hartford Whalers jersey. Let's see if the Blackhawks can bring it down. Sean, your review of the Blackhawks throwback jersey.
This is a tough one because I have seen this jersey in a million different cuts. I actually managed to snag a version from the early 90s from the 75th anniversary era, and the stripes on it are basically painted on. And, you know, even then, at the cheapest replicas, it's still friggin' gorgeous. I love this jersey, but at the same time, I fully admit that, like, you need to have a name on it for it to look good, because otherwise you're stuck in these stripes. And, you know, at times, from certain angles, it just looks like you're wearing, you know, your grandmother's sweater that she knit you. But once you throw some white numbers on there, there's some solid things to work around. You know, you can have points where you can fixate on it. The logo is gorgeous. And overall, once you slap the 75th anniversary patch on there, put Chelios or Hashik or whoever, you're going to be having a good time.
Okay, Beepo, your thoughts on the multi-stripe Chicago Blackhawks throwback jersey?
It's a really nice jersey if you look at it through a throwback lens and just kind of look at it like, you know, this is something that they used to wear, and it's really nice to, you know, just see it on the ice a little bit again, just as a bit of a tribute, you know, in this case for the 75th anniversary of the league. But if you look at it from the lens of modern design and, you know, just completely take out any of that context, what in God's name is going on here? Now, if you took the arm stripes on their own, it's pretty nice. But then you look at the chest and it's like, what did you do? Why did you do that? You just have no idea what's going on. And it's just so busy that this jersey really has the basis for something good, but it was just too, I don't want to say ahead of its time, it was just too early to really be able to delve into some of that. And it's just so busy.
I like the craziness, and I like that it works for no apparent reason. Like, try to replicate that. Just like, okay, I'm going to throw on a bunch of random stripes, and it's going to probably look like random stripes. But for me, this one works.
Like, I agree that it works, and it has its own appeal and its own kind of vintage flair, but at the same time, it's still just so much, and it's so busy. But it really does work in such a weird way.
Absolutely.
It's still just really busy. And there's a lot going on.
Steve, your thoughts on the 91-92 throwback Hawks jersey?
You know what? There is a ton of stuff going on here, but I love it because they got down and they did everything for accuracy on it. And like Sean even said, it's hard to find this cheaply. Because it wasn't something they wore like normally in the season. It was a specialty jersey, and it's for the 75th anniversary. And I think today this is something you would see at the beer league level. And I think really only the team closest to wearing something crazy like this has to be the Belleville Senators with the barber pole jerseys. So, I mean, it's something different. It's outrageous striping, but you know what? It works. It works really well. And if you're wearing just, say, like, plain equipment, then you have a solid hit here. So, I've always liked this jersey, and I've always wanted it in my collection.
Okay, here we go. It comes down to the 83-84 Whalers jersey going up against the Throwback Hawks jersey. The Whalers are already up 1-0 based on votes from the listeners. Sean, we're going to go to you for your winner.
So this is tough because ideally in a vacuum, the Whalers would win in a heartbeat, especially over the original. But the throwback itself is one of the best examples of a throwback of all time. That being said, I still got to give it to Hartford, and not even close.
It's not even close. Okay.
Not even close.
2-0 Hartford. Beepo, here's your chance. Who's winning this one?
I've got to give this one to Hartford, too. I mean, like I said, the Blackhawks one has its own appeal, but I think the Whalers one has a much more universal appeal, and it's just a classic. And while the Blackhawks is more like, it's nice to see it again, but I would not want to see this worn on a regular basis, like as a primary home. But the Whalers one, not in the league today because the Whalers don't exist, but if they did, they would have no problem keeping this around for God knows how long.
Okay, so the Whalers have won this Throwback Throwdown edition. They're already up 3-0, but we will get everyone's vote in. I'm taking the Hawks jersey on this one. There's something about that 91-92 season that I'll always remember as one of the first ever seasons that I was really getting into as a hockey fan, really understanding everything that was going on at the time. Really enjoyed all the throwback jerseys and understanding who the original six were. And this jersey, like I mentioned before, so much going on in the front, you could never replicate that again. And it's working here. And it's a part of the Hawks history. And it's not an eyesore in Hawks history. So I think it is more impressive than the awesome green Whalers jersey. So for this one, for me, the Hawks do get my vote. So right now it's 3-1 for the Whalers. Steve, is it going to appear a little bit closer, or do the Whalers get a blowout win here?
I'm going to have to go with the Hawks for this one. Only because while I think that this Whalers jersey, which I do have, is a far in superior designed universally, and it's something that you could put on the ice today and it would not lose its appeal. I'm a fan of very original ideas, and I think this Hawks jersey, just the fact that they put such complicated striping on it, but it still works. It doesn't feel super busy, and it doesn't feel like the Ottawa 67 jerseys where it's those multi-stripes and you just want to shoot yourself by staring at it. No, I'd have to give it to the Hawks for the design here. So I have to agree with you.
Okay, so the final score ends up being a little bit closer, but the Hartford Whalers will be moving on as our Throwback Throwdown champion. The final score 3-2 here. Keep an eye out on our Twitter feed, at Jersey Nerds Pod. We'll put up the vote for next week's edition of Throwback Throwdown. If you're tired of seeing the Whalers jersey win, be sure to vote and knock it off its pedestal. But if you love the Whalers jersey, be sure to vote so it does not get knocked off its pedestal. That is what we have for you this week. Be sure to check us out on Twitter, like I just mentioned, at Jersey Nerds Pod, via email, jerseynerdspodcast@gmail.com. Send us your comments, what you'd like to see or hear on the podcast, any improvements you'd like to hear. If you have any questions, let us know. We might read them on the podcast. All of that via email, jerseynerdspodcast@gmail.com. And as I've been mentioning all episode, you can catch all the show notes and everything else on jerseynerdspodcast.com. That is what we have for you this week. Be sure to subscribe to and rate the Jersey Nerds podcast on all the podcast platforms. It really helps us out. And you'll also get notifications when new episodes do get up. So I'd like to thank Sean, Beepo, and Steve for joining me this week. And for all you Jersey Nerds for listening, goodbye, everybody.